Thank you for doing that. We will record this. We will post it as always, but good morning. Thank you for being here. This is our second Principal Coffee Talk of the year. We want to give everything and the best service we can to our rising kindergarten families because it is important that you all understand our school, why we're here, what we do here. It has been a difficult year all around, but we are thriving at Morris Brandon. We understand we were not able to do in-person tours, so we have an awesome virtual tour video that is brand new that you all are going to see before anybody at the very end of this presentation. But I want to welcome you and I want to say thank you for being here. Just a couple people I want to introduce really quickly that are on this call. First and foremost, you can see Mr. Dwight Hutson on our call. Mr. Hutson is our program administrator of the primary center, meaning he's pretty much the principal of the K2 campus. And you'll hear from him today. So good morning, Mr. Hutson.
Morning, everyone. Glad to see you here.
Next up, we have our two amazing, incredible, awesome assistant principals. They are on here, Ms. Tamika Small and Ms. Fume Ekper. They are going to be answering any questions that you have inside of the chat box. So if you have anything you want to ask, you want to put into a chat box, you want to direct message them if you feel comfortable, please do. They are able to answer really anything you have, as well am I and Mr. Hutson. I also want to introduce to you two of our awesome kindergarten teachers, right? It wouldn't be a rising introduction to kindergarten principal coffee talk without two kindergarten teachers, because you're not really here to hear from me. I know that. I talk all the time. But that is Miss Mary Beth Halliday, who is right there, and we'll hear from her in just a little bit, and also Miss Kate Murphy, who is also on our call. Good morning, Miss Murphy.
Good morning.
Morning.
And I'm sorry if I didn't introduce myself, by the way. My name is Mr. Bland, Jay Bland. My name says Jacob Bland, but that's okay. You can call me either Jay, Jacob, or Mr. Bland. And I'm the principal at Morris Brandon, and I'll be doing most of the talking today, but hopefully I'm here to answer all your questions. But last but not least, I do want to introduce one of our parent liaisons. She's also a co-president of NAPS, which is the North Atlanta Parents for Public Schools organization that is in our North Cluster, and that is Miss Karen Barwani. Karen is going to just say hello and welcome because our PTA presidents are not able to be on today, so Karen is going to also serve that role for the first couple of minutes. Am I correct, Karen? Karen's on mute, but she'll unmute herself and she will say hello in just a second.
Yes, she will. Thank you very much. So on behalf of our current PTA presidents, Michelle Hatch and Wendy Ray, this is, I guess, kind of getting ahead in the presentation, but we want all prospective parents to know that there are ample opportunities to get involved with the school. There's over 60 committees that parents can either get involved with by being on the committees or chairing the committees. Things from being a room parent to planning major events, it's all out there. There's also opportunities to get involved in policy making by running for our GO team, which I'm sure Jay will address, or maybe not at some point, but all of the information can be found on the Morris Brandon website, and you can reach out to me. I think you've probably all gotten my email at some point, or our PTA presidents, who you can also reach by our website.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And if I don't mind, can somebody put some of those email addresses in the chat box for our parents so we have them? Karen?
Yeah, I'll put them up. I'll put them in right now.
I'm putting them in.
Yep.
There. All right, awesome. Thank you so much. So just a couple things. Today, you're going to hear a little bit about our school. You're going to hear about supports, programs. You're going to learn about a day in the life of a kindergartner. You're going to learn a little bit about our mitigation strategies because we are at the, we're in a pandemic. We're at hopefully the light at the end of the tunnel, tail end of a pandemic. But we do want to highlight some of the things that we are doing this year and potentially at the start of next year. And I will tell you that you're going to get some information today that has not been shared with anybody yet. That has to do around our rising kindergarten and first grade camps that will be happening this summer, as well as a virtual tour at the very end of this presentation. So I just want to tell everybody that we're glad you're here. I was in your shoes last year. For those that don't know, I have a kindergartner right now. So I was sitting there with my wife learning about Morris Brandon, just like you are. So we have firsthand experience. I have firsthand experience, and I'm here to hopefully answer all of your questions and support you in anything that you need. We currently have 817 students enrolled at our school. We are well under capacity at both buildings. We actually have back in person 86% of our total enrollment, which is actually the highest percentage of any school in APS. And we have 706 students back in person right now. across both buildings. And we're very proud of that. We're doing it very successfully. Our kids, our families, our staff are doing everything that we've asked of them to make sure that school is safe and an awesome place to learn. We currently have 42 homerooms, just so you know, that's spread across K through 5. And our class sizes right now are ranging anywhere from, if we were all back in person, anywhere between 16 and 26 kids in our dual language immersion. So our class sizes are very manageable, and they're even lower right now, knowing that we still have Morris Brandon Virtual Academy happening, and we actually still have 112 students still learning virtually at our school as well. So just to kind of give you some numbers. But I'm going to go ahead and get started. Farther ahead. So we're welcoming you to Morris Brandon. It's a great place to be. And I want to talk a little bit about some of the highlights that we have from our school, which makes our school just a special place. I'm going to do my best to not say too many acronyms, I'm sorry. But if I do, stop me if you don't understand anything, and I'll be able to definitely rephrase that, because we speak in a lot of those in education. So we are a National Blue Ribbon School, which is a award that is given out nationally from the U.S. Department of Education. It's a very special award to have, and it stays with your school for a long time. We are often a Georgia School of Excellence. So generally every year at the end of the school year, we take our data, our Georgia milestone scores that are given in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. We take a look at everything that we've done for the year, and the state of Georgia for the past several years has given us a Georgia School of Excellence, and that's for high student achievement, or it can be for attendance, it can be for social emotional learning, it can be for IB, but we're very often recognized by the state of Georgia as a school of excellence. We earned our Common Sense Media this year, which is a great way to do this. Our students understand how to use the computer, use it effectively and safely, how to use the internet, which really could not come at a better time for virtual learning. Our latest score that we received on a report card, we call it a state report card. It's called the CCRPI, and that stands for the College and Career Readiness Performance Index. For all of you that look for houses or look for neighborhoods and look for communities, you're probably familiar with the grade schools, like an A, B, C, D, F type of score. The best way to rate a school is using the CCRPI. You can actually Google it, and you can look it up and it'll tell you. We scored a 96 out of 100, which puts us in the 99th percentile in the state of Georgia. This was 2 years ago. We did not do CCRPI scores last year for obvious reasons, because we did finish the year virtually and did not take some of those state assessments that really help with that score. But we're very proud of that score. We have 2 signature programs as well. We are an IB school, which is an international baccalaureate school. We focus a lot on international mindedness, inquiry-based assessments, transdisciplinary learning. We're going to learn a little bit about that in our call. And we're also very proud to have a Spanish DLI program as well. And Ms. Halliday actually is going to talk a little bit about that in just a few minutes. So I'm going to keep moving. We focus on the whole child at Morris Brandon. Very important. Instruction is huge for us. Instruction is very important. During this pandemic year, instruction has taken a bit of a backseat to student safety and social emotional learning. We realize that our students, many of them have been out of school for at least 6 months. And again, I'm sorry if I'm breaking up just a little bit. Sometimes that happens. I'll do the best I can. I do want to say this, and I meant to say it earlier. The internet is very spotty today. It just happens to be like that at Morris Brandon on this Thursday at 10 a.m. when it's time to do this. So if I'm breaking up, I'm sorry, and I'll try and talk a little bit slower. So we do focus on the whole child. We have a very big social emotional learning program, and we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But we definitely do never want to forget about the whole child at Morris Brandon, and that's very important to us. We have a mission and vision that we just wrote, and I'm going to spare you the time of me reading it. It's very important that we know this. We repeat it all the time in parent meetings and in our staff meetings. You can see our focus on the community, working collaboratively and fostering that international mindedness we talked about. And then we just rewrote our vision as well. And the most important part of the vision is that last sentence that says, well, we give every student what they need to be successful. That's very important to us. It doesn't matter if our students need intervention supports, if they need acceleration through gifted learning activities, if it's dual language immersion, if it's IB, it doesn't matter. We really want to be able to offer every student what they need to be successful. Just a couple of our programs, and I'm going to just talk for a second, and I promise you I'm going to hand it over. So hopefully I'm not breaking up too much. But we have a lot of support programs, a lot of programs that are federally funded. That's important that you know about. Most notably are these 4 that are on here right now, starting with Gifted Instruction. Gifted is an opportunity for some of our higher level learners who can show creativity, but also exceptional knowledge, but then also doing well in class, rated by their teachers for gifted learning. But we do gifted testing for all of our students. We're in the middle of doing it right now for kindergarten. Not every student qualifies, but many students do test. And gifted is not just high achievement and being really smart and getting good grades, but we really look at the creativity piece as well for our students. Gifted testing, what student tested, they're gifted for the rest of their life as long as they are in a public school in the state of Georgia. So it would carry into our middle school, into our high school, or any other school that you would go to that is a public school in Georgia. We do have some language learners at our school, and we offer ESOL, which are language learning services to anybody who may not be a native English speaker. We are very proud of our EIP program, that is early intervention. That is a time where we try and capture our students that need the most support at the younger grades to be able to give them what they need to be successful. And then last but not least, we have a robust special education program for any students that need it. Special education services are served through what's called an IEP, or an individual education plan. You have to, we have a committee, so you don't automatically just go into special ed. We work with you to work through that. But we are here for you for any of our students' needs. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Miss Halliday, and she's going to talk just for about 5 minutes around our dual language immersion program. The last slide, Mary Beth, is on here, and she knows this, is about a dual language immersion town hall for parents that's coming up in just 1 week from now. So we're not going to get into all the details of dual language immersion. We're just going to talk about how it kind of looks in Morris Brandon. And if you're interested in that town hall, please join us on the 30th, and the information will be on this slide. Mary Beth?
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Mary Beth Halliday, the English partner teacher in DLI in kindergarten. And let's see, next year will be my 5th year in this position. And it has grown over the years, and we are very proud of what we've done and accomplished. But dual language immersion is a program, and it is offered K through 5. The program is a one-way model here at Morris Brandon, which means that our students predominantly speak English and they are learning Spanish. There may be a few native speakers in our classes. We have a few each year, but predominantly our students speak English and are learning the second language. In a two-way model, if you've ever seen this or heard of this, maybe in one of the preschools you've been to, it is 2 groups of students. So one group predominantly speaks maybe Spanish and the other group English, and they are learning both languages and learning from one another. So we do the exact same thing, but our students predominantly speak English. So DLI is a lottery, but there is a process to get in. So for our district, the first tier or students that can get in are native speakers. They have a home language of Spanish. They speak this at home. They may be identified for ESOL, the English as a second language. And that is our first tier. So if your child is a native speaker, they will get into the program. The next tier is that the students are also native speakers, but they may not be identified for ESOL, English as a second language, but they do speak the language at home. The next tier is that your child maybe attended a preschool that has a DLI program, and we do have communication with the preschools around here, and we check the applications and if just to be sure that it is a DLI program. And a lot of those preschools are actually adopting this. So we're seeing more and more children with this, with previous years of dual language immersion before they come here. The next tier, if you want to click Mr. Bland or whoever's in charge, your student, or maybe you have a current student already here at Morris Brandon that is in the DLI program. Also, and then the last tier is the lottery part. And that's where it can be any child, any student. They didn't attend a preschool. They don't speak the language at home. No exposure at all. And you can fill out the application, and your child's name can be pulled for a a lottery process. And I did look up the date for when the applications are due, because every year it's a little bit different. The window is open and it's March 15th to June 1st. That's the last day that you can apply to be in the program. So we're going to have a dual language immersion town hall coming up. So if you are interested, please, please, please join us on the 30th. That's next Tuesday from 6 to 7. And our language department, along with some teachers, are going to explain how the program works, how the students learn in English and Spanish, what their day may look like, basically the day in the life of a kindergarten DLI student.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary Beth. As our kindergarten English side DLI teacher, can you just maybe tell us one fact or one thing about your class or one item that you want to share about your time at DLI or at Morris Brandon or anything else? I don't mean to put you on the spotlight.
Sure, no, it's
I know
fine.
they want to maybe hear something from you.
Yeah, so the students learn in both languages, and it's they do this every single day. And now different schools have different models, but we have a model where they start with their homeroom teacher, and then halfway through the day they switch and they're learning in the other language. And when I first started this program, I was like, how is this going to work? Are they really going to be able to read and write and speak in both languages? And it is so amazing that by, I was going to say March, but I've even seen it before March, January sometimes, these children are writing in both languages. They're speaking in both languages. They are presenting things in both languages and reading. It's just, my first year I actually had tears listening to them read in both languages because we had the same books, and it was just, it's so cool. So it happens before your eyes. It's amazing. And they really are sponges, and they just soak it all up. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much. That was great. And if you want to learn more about DLI, our flyer is right here. It is in English and Spanish, and feel free to join us on March 30th. The Zoom link is below. We will post all of this information on our website as well. And I would be remiss if I did not say that Mr. Dwight Hutson, who is fluent in Spanish, is also was an APS World Languages model teacher and really knows the ins and outs of this program. And we're very happy to have him, as well as great teachers like Miss Halliday. All right, let's keep moving. I adjusted my volume and my computer screens a little bit, so hopefully you can hear me a little bit better. And we can keep moving on. One of our other signature programs, and I'm just going to touch upon it very quickly, is called IB, International Baccalaureate. It's the signature program of the North Atlanta cluster. We are in the primary years program. And it's a framework that's really designed for students that are aged 3 through 12. So elementary, really to the end of elementary. When you get to middle school, it turns into the middle years program. And when you get up to high school, you start to see IB classes offered as honors classes as well. We actually just went through our 5-year IB reauthorization in a virtual setting. And when I first came in 3 years ago, we had 14 matters to be addressed, meaning that we had to look at some things in our curriculum and our learning and our student planners to say that it wasn't quite fitting into what IB wanted, International Baccalaureate, and we're very happy to bring those matters to be addressed down to really just 2 or 3. I do want to direct you really quickly to this short video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but the link is here. So when we post this PowerPoint at the end, if you want to learn a little bit more about our school, you should be able to see. If we keep walking down the main hall, you will unfortunately see a lot of empty 4th grade classrooms, and we cannot wait to fill with little bees as soon as possible. But I do want to show you our science lab. Our science lab is equipped with an endless amount of materials to support the units of inquiry. Teachers both check out materials to use in their classrooms and also sign up for times to teach a science lab lesson. The kids love when they can play the role of scientists while also working in the science lab. Okay, sorry about that. I'm having trouble toggling back and forth. So what I'll do is I'm going to leave that video on there if you'd like to watch it. I'm sorry, I don't have my dual screens right now. I'm trying to work through some of the technical glitches on here. So I'm going to go ahead and Mr. Hutson, if you have the PowerPoint pulled back up, can you go ahead and just share it one more time? I had to close that screen out. And then we're going to move on to the next piece where we can hear a little bit about some of our instructional programs. 1 second.
Yeah, allow me to share, please.
Yes, sir. Hudson, I don't have the sharing button, so I'm going to have to try and pull it up, I think. I don't know why I don't have the security button on the bottom. Hold tight, everybody. Sorry for the delay.
Okay, it happens. You're doing great.
I know the
Welcome
internet
to
is
the
so
real-
slow right now. I had to close that window out. I couldn't open it up. I'm sorry. Do you have it, Hudson? I'm sorry. I'm a little flustered. I'm trying to share my screen, but I don't have that button.
Okay, it's allowed me to share now.
Okay, go ahead and pull it back up and we'll keep going. All right, so we will keep moving on. And again, thank you for dealing with some of the glitches, as you can see. But I do want to talk just for a second about some of our instructional programs before we get to our day in the life of a kindergartner, as well as our virtual tour. Go ahead.
Hey, I'll take this one.
Go ahead, Mr. Hudson.
So we have several programs at Morris Brandon that go kindergarten through 5th grade. And we start our day every day with social and emotional learning, in which we call that SEL throughout the day. And we teach students to focus on self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. And you'll see us talk about that every day on the announcements. We talk about it on the announcements, give the students examples about how to make good decisions. And then the teachers work with it throughout the day. They embed it in their lessons, and they have specific times where they work on social emotional learning with the students. Our reading and literacy program, or more so our ELA program in English language arts, is Wit and Wisdom. And we implemented this 3 years ago when we first came here. It promotes higher order thinking skills, has discussions, a lot of discussions, Socratic seminars. It uses art as a basis for discussion before going into the stories that they're going to read. And we found that it's a very rigorous program, and it pulled our gifted learners up, but it also pulled up our struggling students too, because the program worked so well and got students to think in a higher order and just really concentrating and focusing on the ELA and the reading and so forth. Eureka Math is the sister program to Wit and Wisdom, and is very good at building mental math and having the students understand the reason why they perform certain operations in math, and so it's an excellent program. Foundations is an Orton Gillingham-based phonics program, and the students really enjoy it. There's a multi-sensory approach to it. So sometimes you'll see your children playing in shaving cream, sand, they're tapping out the letters as they read it, they hear it, they get a lot of different input, and so it's very good, and it's a multi-sensory program. And then last but not least is Estrellitas, which is the phonics program for our DLI classrooms, and that's mainly in kindergarten and 1st grade. They do a little bit in 2nd, but mainly in kindergarten and 1st. And so those are our programs. K through 5, they'll be doing social emotional learning, Wit and Wisdom, and Eureka Math. And then in the younger grades, they'll do Foundations and Estrellitas, depending on if they're in DLI or not.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Hudson. He did touch upon a very important point with our phonics program. So phonics is something that's very unique to kindergarten. It really does start in kindergarten. And we use the Foundations program. And Mr. Hudson touched upon the Orton Gillingham approach to learning that we use at our school. All of our staff have participated in a 30-hour Orton Gillingham training course. And like Mr. Hudson said, it's a great way to teach spelling, phonics, phonemic awareness, comprehension, fluency, and vocabulary through a multisensory approach to learning. So students are learning visually, auditory, kinesthetic, tactile, all of those different ways. And it's really the basis of our literacy model at Morris Brandon. And the instructional programs that we have, which is Wit and Wisdom, which we adopted when I first came on here, as well as Eureka, which has been here for a long time, are rigorous and really help us to push our students instructionally. And it starts in kindergarten, and it's great to have a program they're gonna see in kindergarten and the same exact program they're gonna see in 5th grade. And that's something that really does separate us. We are one of only 2 schools in the district that uses Wit and Wisdom. So we're excited about that. All right.
Mr. Bland.
Yes, sir.
Tell them about yesterday.
Oh, yes. We had a great day yesterday. We actually just did a cross-district collaboration because the city schools of Decatur are interested in adopting Wit and Wisdom. Wit and Wisdom is really a new literacy program from Great Minds. It's only been out for about 5 years. So there's really not that many schools in the country that even use it. So we brought some of our amazing teachers on a Zoom call with almost 30 City of Decatur instructional coaches, teachers, principals, to learn about how we have implemented Wit and Wisdom at our school and some of the results that we've seen from our students. So when I tell you that kindergartners are writing informational paragraphs in March, I'm not lying, because I've seen it from my son. Miss Halliday talked about it. Miss Murphy will talk about it soon. So we're very proud of that. All right, let's keep rolling. So just a couple other of our programs we have. We do have a plethora of specials. I would be remiss if I didn't talk about these as an ex-PE teacher myself. We put a lot of pride in our programs outside of the classroom. So that is, we have 2 PE teachers, we have 2 music teachers, we have an art teacher, we have 3 French teachers. I would say 2.5 because one of them is halftime, but they are 3 French teachers. We have an awesome counselor who you're going to hear from at the end in our video. We have 2 full-time media specialists, and we even have technology. All students at our school go to specials for 45 minutes a day to really round out that education. So it's very awesome to see that. French is our foreign language, so it is not Spanish. So if you're not inside the dual language immersion program, you receive French services. And French is often offered outside of the specials block in our foreign language and intervention block. Some of the other support services that we have, and I do think it's important to note that, first of all, you can see our amazing officer, Officer Rolanda Davis, with our resident B, Miss Mary Plummer. She wears that pretty much every day to school, believe it or not. So, yep, she is our B, and she works at the main office at the main campus. But I do think it's important to note that we offer all sorts of support services for students that need that. And that is anything from physical therapy to OT speech. We also have counseling, we have a social worker, and then we offer intervention. So some of the things that separate us from, honestly, many private schools is that we do have federally funded services that we can offer to all of our students that are eligible. Okay, so let's get to the point that we all wanted to be here for, right? Let's hear from a kindergarten teacher. Miss Murphy is a phenomenal kindergarten teacher, as are all of them. She's going to introduce the K team. She's going to talk you through a day in the life of a kindergartner. And now is a great time to ask any questions that you want to, either in the chat box or when we stop at the end, you can. Miss Murphy?
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's so good to be here. I know I have met some of you before, but if I have not met you before, I hope to meet you so soon. We're happy that your kindergartners will be with us in the fall. It's an amazing school. We are so happy and excited to welcome them in just a couple of short months. In front of you, you see our kindergarten team. If I start on the top left, I'll go through some names. We've got Miss Halliday that you heard from before, the English DLI teacher. Next to her is Senora Estrada, the Spanish DLI teacher. We've got Miss Halligan, Miss Birch, Miss Lucky, Miss Meeser, myself, and Miss Hoekstra. And then on the second row down, you'll see our incredible paraprofessionals, our teacher assistants. Most kindergarten classrooms, there are 2 adults in the room, which is incredible and very needed, especially at the beginning of the year when we are new and we're little and we're learning how to, be a kindergarten student. We've got Mr. Conwell, Senora Sosa, Miss Phillips, Miss Yuji, Miss Ector, Miss Townsend, and Miss Johnson. And we've had this kindergarten team for a couple of years now. There have been teachers who have been here for a long time, or parapros that have been here for a long time, are truly invested and love Morris Brandon and our school. We all enjoy working together. We work very well together. And we are so excited to meet your little bees. Will you go to the next slide, Mr. Hutson?
And I also just have to chime in to talk about how amazing this team is and how we have put every effort forward to make sure that we do have as many staff as we can in kindergarten, because we understand the supports our K needs. So having 15 dedicated staff for our youngest students, our rising kindergartners, is something that has been a major focus of us. So in a year where there were really high budget cuts and a lot of areas that we had to look at, we definitely made sure that our kindergarten students are supported through 8 homeroom teachers and 7 paraprofessionals.
Yes, thanks for doing that. Appreciate it. Okay, so this is my class schedule. This is what we do every day in school. You'll see on here there's a lot of hand washing. We have several breaks throughout the day to wash hands, but I'll kind of walk you through the day. The kids arrive to school. I've got morning work for them to do as they arrive. They get unpacked. A great way to start the day, to work on something, write in their journals, talk with their buddies. We do calendar time, social emotional learning, a lesson in that. This morning we talked about anger and how you can appropriately and effectively deal with anger if you're feeling angry or mad or upset. We get into our phonics time. Like Mr. Hutson said before, it's a lot of hands-on, a lot of moving pieces. We've got magnet boards and whiteboards, songs, we're moving. We've always got them up and moving just so that we can hit the visual learners, the auditory learners, the kinesthetic learners, and make sure that they have a really solid phonics foundation. Then we'll move into our reading and writing portion of the day. Mr. Hutson referenced wit and wisdom. Something that I love about that in kindergarten is that the kids get to hold the books in their hand. Even now with coronavirus, they all have their own book that they hold in their hand so that they're, have their hands on the text. They're seeing details right in front of them in the illustrations, picking out words and spelling patterns through the actual text itself. It's a great thing to have. Then after that, we have a rotation between French. Our kindergarten students get French 2 days a week. And then the other days we'll do English Language Arts Center activities. And during that time, we'll pull them for small reading groups so that each child gets to work with me, their teacher, at their own individual reading levels so that we can fill in gaps or push and challenge them when needed. We do a snack break in the morning. I wash those hands really well. Then we move into math time. With math, we do a couple of different activities. We do a math journal, which encourages them to draw pictures and apply their math knowledge of what we're learning to a visual that they create. We do centers, which are really hands-on. Even with coronavirus and all the mitigation strategies we're taking, we are still able to provide the kids manipulatives. In my class, everyone has their own little math kit, and they have their own cubes and their own shape blocks and their own whiteboard and whatever pieces that they need, only for them to use while we're doing math lessons in small groups, so that there's no cross-contamination, everyone's safe and happy and healthy. And then we give them the opportunity to work independently and to show what they know, so that way we can check and make sure that they are getting the lesson and the concept. We do lunch and recess block in the afternoon. We've been able to eat outside a lot, which is amazing since we've been back. We eat lunch this year in our classroom, not in the cafeteria, just to keep our classrooms or our cohorts contained. And Mr. Bland will touch on that in a little bit with more mitigation strategies. But lunch is great in our classroom. Mr. Hudson, you just changed the screen, but I can go off my memory. So we do lunch in our classroom, or we do lunch in outside, like on a picnic blanket. After that, we have the opportunity to play outside for recess. For recess, we have 4 different zones, again, to keep our kids in their own class with their own cohort and not mixing with other students. After recess, we jump into specials time. And specials, we get art, PE, music, library, counseling, all those great things with our amazing specialist teachers. And towards the end of the day, we have science and social studies. So that is learning about maps and globes, plants, rocks, American symbols, all really fun and interesting things that the kids really latch onto and start to show great interest in. And then that's the end of our day. They get packed up and we put them in carpool on buses and they head on home.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Murphy. A couple things I just want to highlight really quickly is that this schedule is very similar in kindergarten and fifth grade. We just alter how the instructional blocks look. Every grade level, so we have some families on here that may not have a rising kindergartner, do have that intervention block that falls at 9:30 a.m. for kindergarten, but it may be a different time, and it does alternate with that foreign language block. Also, you may see on the schedule like very detailed hand washing and restroom breaks. We don't generally have that in a schedule. We know why we trust our teachers, we do that. But one of our major mitigation strategies obviously is hand washing. We know how important that is for kindergarten. So we just have to ensure that our kindergartners go and wash their hands like 3 times a day when they're not using the restroom. So that's why you'll see that level of detail in this schedule. So awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Murphy.
Mhm.
All right, Mr. Hutson, you got the next slide for me? Okay, so a couple things that we want you to know. First of all, that enrollment is currently open. We are doing online enrollment only. We understand there are lots of questions about next year, and I'm just going to take a second to just address some of that. Some people want to know whether there's going to be a virtual option next year, but most people want to know, are we going to be 4 or 5 days next year? And I know that's a major question. I can tell you that we will be getting an answer to that on Friday, and we're hopeful for good news. And we want our kids here as much as possible, but be on the lookout for that announcement on Friday. And then we do anticipate an uptick in enrollment when that announcement is made. So just be on the lookout. APS will be making some announcements on Friday in regard to the next school year, how that will look, maybe some virtual learning options, potentially 4 versus 5 days a week options, and much more. So we generally get updates from APS on Friday afternoons. But we do want you to know that online enrollment is currently open. It has been open since March 5th. It is not a first come, first served basis. So, we will take any student that lives within our zone whenever they enroll. But it is good for us to help us go ahead and enroll early so we can anticipate class sizes. We can begin to plan for our Rising K camps, which Ms. Murphy is going to talk about in just one more second, and everything else. So online enrollment, this is what you will need ultimately to enroll. And everything on here will get you into Morris Brandon. So we just definitely wanted to put that on there. And if you ever want to call our office at 404-802-7280, and maybe Ms. Small can put that in the chat box. They can also walk you through anything you need about online enrollment or what to bring. All right, so one other thing I do want to share really quickly is parent input forms. These actually just went live yesterday, so you all are getting the very first kind of heads up on this outside of the email. Parent input forms is something that we use for anybody who's rising K to 5th grade. It is a chance for parents to tell us a little bit about your child. Yes, it is almost more important to get that information in kindergarten because by 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, we know our students very well. But for our kindergarten students, we don't always know them. So what we want you to do, and I'm going to ask for Ms. Ekper, if you don't mind just cutting and pasting that link into the, or just copying and pasting that link if you can. Maybe Mr. Hutson would have to. I know if he's sharing, maybe he'll have to do that. That they can go ahead and put that in there. So our parents can go ahead and fill that out and tell us a little bit about your child, anything we need to know. It asked about adjectives to describe your child. It asks about the perfect teacher you had and why it made them perfect. It talks about any other input you want to give us, and we find the best teacher for your child based on that. It's not mandatory. It is optional, but it is due with a hard cutoff on Friday, April 30th. So you have plenty of time to do that. So please fill that out once you enroll and you know your child is coming to Morris Brandon, so we don't have any parent input forms of students who maybe attended elsewhere. So hopefully that ended up in the chat. While I'm talking about the chat, do we have any questions that have been popped up in the chat that I can help address right now in regard to enrollment? Ms. Ekper, Ms. Small? Nothing? Okay, great.
No questions so far.
So the next slide, I'm going to let Ms. Murphy talk about just briefly. It has to do with our Rising K Camp, which I will tell you we are super excited about because we were not able to do this last year. And so this is an awesome opportunity if you have the ability, and I know it's a little late in the year to make this announcement, but we just got to go ahead to send your child for a week. It's an awesome way for them to meet their friends, teachers, and get some screeners in. So I'll let Ms. Murphy talk about that just briefly.
Yeah, sure thing. So we've been doing kindergarten camp for a long time. It's an incredible opportunity to give your child before they head into kindergarten, just to kind of get rid of the jitters and the nerves as they head into big kid school. So it gives them the chance to meet kids that will potentially be in their class, make new friends. They'll get to meet most of the kindergarten teachers. We won't know whose class everyone is in yet. We don't know that until the end of the summer, but they'll get to meet the teachers, interact with them, and become familiar with them. They get used to being in the building. We do a tour. We do activities in different rooms like the library and the gym and outside on the playground, so that they know kind of where they're going and what to expect. And really, it just builds their confidence for when they show up in August on day one and they are ready. They say, I've been here. I know that lady. I've met her before. She's funny. Or I've been down these hallways before. I know where to go. It makes them feel much better as they start kindergarten. So we are offering it the first 3 full weeks of June. The dates are up there from 9 in the morning to 12 in the afternoon. You choose 1 week for your kid to come. They don't need to come 2 weeks or all 3 weeks, because we basically just kind of repeat the activities for each day. So if they came more than 1 week, it'd be redundant. We also are offering a stay and play aftercare. We know that parents work and you have schedules that you have to adhere to. So the stay and play aftercare program is from 12 to 3, if that is something that would be helpful for you. And if you're interested in registering, we will have hard copy forms outside the PC, the primary center, on a table. And they will also be on the Hive's website. The Hive is our after school program, and we actually run kindergarten camp and first grade camp through the Hive. Their website is mbthehive.com, and the registration forms will be up there very soon. They're not up there today, but within the next couple of days, they will be up there. And we're also having first grade camp. Someone messaged me that we are having first grade camp. And
Awesome.
those will be up there.
Ms. Murphy, quick clarifying question. We have 3 weeks for the Rising K Camp, but are students expected to attend all 3 or just 1?
Just 1. When you fill out the registration form, you give your preference. Like, we know that you guys have other camps, vacations, and things going on. So you'll say, this week works best for me. This week would be my second choice. This week does not work for me. And we almost always can give you your first choice. We know summers get busy very quickly. You just choose 1.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think you mentioned this around a screener, a kindergarten screener, in just like 30 seconds. Can you tell our parents what that means for their kindergartners who may attend that camp?
Sure. So we work with your child one-on-one for maybe 20 minutes during the whole week of camp. And we ask them some questions about ABCs and counting and shapes, things that they've learned in preschool. And that gives us just kind of a base of where they're starting academically. And that information is great for us to have as we start the school year in August, and also helps us to build balanced classes over the summer so that we can get them ready for the fall.
Okay, awesome. And for everybody else, I did just post or Ms. Ekper did, to the right link, the parent input form. So if you want to save that, you can. We take one of those for all of our students, for each student, if you have multiple children at Brandon. So please complete that. For each child, you have until April 30th to do that. Okay, great. I want to keep moving on. We are towards the tail end of our presentation. I do want to continue to thank you for being patient, but also being here with us. If we learned anything this year, it is flexibility, adaptability, and positivity. Those are the 3 words that come out of my mouth probably 10 times a day. All of our staff have memorized them. We're like water. We say be like water, go around the obstacles. So we're used to that at this point. But I do want to talk about, it's been a unique year. It really has. And I can tell you that bringing back 706 students face-to-face came with some challenges. 86% of our entire enrollment coming back to our buildings came with some anxiety. And I just wanted to talk through very quickly some of our mitigation strategies that we have put into place. And a mitigation strategy is, a strategy that helps keep COVID-19 out of our schools. I will say that we well, we'll talk through this, and if you have any questions, just let us know. So this is the APS Protects. This is what APS has done to support us by updating and putting a lot of money into our air and our circulation. We've definitely turned off all of our water fountains, and we now have water filling stations at both campuses for students. Buildings and buses are cleaned regularly, and they also have loading and unloading procedures, and there is safety processes and procedures for our buses. And then, of course, for people, we have everybody has to wear masks, and we practice social distancing in our school. We have limited our class sizes, which means that we use what's called a capacity document to make sure that we know. I can tell you the square footage of every single classroom at Morris Brandon. We put it into like an algorithm, and I find out how many students can be put into a classroom at 6 feet apart. And we make sure that we do that. So we follow that document very closely. So using these mitigation strategies have really allowed us to bring all of our students back. Aside from that, Mr. Hutson can go to the next slide, is what we've done at our school that makes us unique. And I want to start on the far left. We did adopt a morning screening app, and that's an APS app. And we have all of our students who can participate fill out a morning screener and submit it to us so we know who's in our building every day and who stayed home because of symptoms. Our staff do the same survey every morning. We have multiple, 9 building entrances across both campuses for students. If you go to the primary center, our bus riders enter through the gym. Our kindergarten students enter through a kindergarten entrance, first grade entrance, second grade entrance, and everybody goes through their temperature check and health screening at that time. Aside from that, we were a pilot school for what's called surveillance testing for APS. Atlanta Public Schools really is the first public school district in the state of Georgia to implement weekly COVID-19 testing. And we do that at Morris Brandon. Each week, we test over 400 students and staff, and it's using a nasopharyngeal swab. We have partnered with Viral Solutions, who comes to our school Tuesday mornings. We pull kids very quickly. We use what's called a surveillance card. So they hand that over. They get a little test, and the Viral Solutions team just swabs the very anterior part of the nose. It is not the very deep nasopharyngeal swab. I'm sorry, it was the shallow anterior one. So it's very painless for kids. A little bit uncomfortable. It can be a little bit of watered eyes, but we've been doing it now for 2 months. And our kids get in and get out. Ms. Murphy is incredible with it. Ms. Halliday is awesome with it. They encourage their kids. We hold hands. And it's only for students that want to opt into it. But this is what has allowed to keep our building open. So we're very proud of that. Within the classrooms, all of our students wear masks. All of our staff wear masks. You saw our hand washing in the schedule. We know about our classroom capacity. We have a care room for students that need to go there who may be experiencing symptoms. We definitely have like one-way hallways, one-way stairwells. But one of the things that we have done is to really do our best to make sure that in-person school still feels like in-person school. We are very lucky to have almost 99% of our staff come back as in person, which we're very lucky to have, which means that we are able to send our kids to specials. Our students do move to PE, art, music, and media center. They also do participate in French, or they do go outside for recess, and they have very specific recess zones. So we're very lucky and very happy that we've tried to mimic a typical school year as much as we can, but we're also very open and transparent that it is not a typical school year right now. And we're doing everything we can for our students and our staff to make sure they're safe, but also having an awesome Morris Brandon experience. We are 4 days a week right now, which means that Wednesdays are used for planning for our staff because they have no time during the week to get a break. I can tell you that right now. So they take Wednesdays to plan, to come together in what's called our PLCs, our professional learning communities. And then one of the other things that we've done is we bought desk shields with the generous donations of our foundation. A desk shield is a divider, and I have a picture of that in just a minute for all of our students, which is great. I talked a little bit about the building access, and we did just download and purchase for all of our families the Pick My Kid app, which when you come to Brandon next year, you'll learn a little bit about it, and it helps us with streamlining our dismissal process so kids are not all kind of huddled into one area like we used to do. All right, next slide. So just a couple of the mitigation strategies, and Mr. Hutson's going to just scroll through these pretty quickly. You can see our desk shields that are here. These are what's on every single classroom and every desk. These are actually a little close because we were trying to get a picture, but most of our students, or all of our students, are actually 6 feet apart in the classrooms. Some of our professional photos that were taken, you can see the awesome Miss Morehart in 3rd grade up there with her class, with her mask on, with her digital board. You can see the children with, those are actually taken behind their desk shields. We have hand sanitizing stations in every classroom throughout the entire building. So we're just really proud with what we've done so far to get us through this year and get all of our students back in person for quality face-to-face learning. We do have essential agreements, and I do want to tell you what those are. So as an IB school, we really put a big emphasis on essential agreements, and an agreement is obviously something that we've all come together to agree to do. We have a student pledge, a community pledge, and a staff pledge right now. This is all centered around student and staff safety. It has to do with holding each other accountable, for monitoring symptoms, for wearing masks, for socially distancing, for hand washing, for quarantining when necessary. And I just have to give a big, big shout out to our community that continue to be open and upright with us in regard to anything that's COVID related, because it is not easy to let the school know and to keep your kid out or to have to quarantine. And while the cases have definitely dropped, you know, they are not non-existent. And we have had our, you know, we've had our fair share of instances, but with the mitigation strategies and our essential agreements that we have in place, we're just really happy with what our community has done to support that. So thank you to that. And then our students have just been rock stars. The biggest concern was wearing masks all day, every day. And I go out at recess and just seeing kids with their masks on over their nose and mouths everywhere I go, from kindergarten to 5th grade, just makes me happy. And our teachers and our staff obviously model that. So very proud of that. So a couple things you all need to know now. Please take note of this slide if you need to take a picture of it. This is a slide that's going to tell you a little bit about how to stay in the know at Morris Brandon. First of all, we do a lot of remind texts. We try and limit them because we know that remind is very easy. So you don't get texts at all hours of the day and night. But if you would like to sign up for our remind texts, you can just follow that instruction right there. MorrisBrandon.com is a great resource for all things Morris Brandon. We do have 2 pop-up sites on there, which is a Morris Brandon Parent University, which we use very heavily for virtual learning. And there's also a dual language immersion pop-up site on there that you can learn a little bit about our DLI program. Please follow us on Twitter and you can, or Facebook. You can follow me at jbland100 and Mr. Hutson at MBPCAPS, Morris Brandon Primary Center, APS, Mr. Hutson. Those are our Twitter accounts, but also you can find me on Facebook as well. And I post a lot of information, a lot of stuff on there. Lastly, we do a bi-weekly blog, where I do a blog twice a month, and that is through our B-mail, and the B-mail is really the best place for you to get all information on Morris Brandon. It comes out every Wednesday, and it's really the best place to get all of that. So if you would like to sign up for that, and I encourage you to right now, especially if you plan on attending Morris Brandon, you will go to morrisbrandon.com, then go to the parent toolkit, and then B-mail sign up. And then we'll start getting our B-mails next week on next Wednesday. If you ever need any assistance with enrollment or anything to do with just kindergarten in general, call Ms. Cole and LaWanda, and you're gonna meet them in just a second at 404-802-7280. Now, last but not least, I do want to end the video, end our meeting with just a video of our virtual tour. It is about 7 minutes long. So I'm going to have Mr. Hutson go ahead and press play on that and make sure that we share our screen and that he's not on mute so we can hear the volume. If you want to jump off now, this is the very last slide, or you can stick around to sort of see some like what it looks like inside of our building. I will tell you the bulk of the photos that are in there were prior to COVID-19. So if you see kids without masks on and without socially distancing, that is the reason why. But it is a great video, and you're going to meet some of our staff and our teachers as well. So Mr. Hutson, would you mind playing that video for us?
No problem getting set up.
Okay.
Give me a few seconds.
While he's getting it set up, if anybody has any questions or wants to come off mute or ask anything, please do. We are here for you. This is a great time. You have all of your admin's ears right here. You can just hang tight just for a second.
And that's what I didn't want to happen. second.
Mr. Bland, someone's asking if we're posting this. Where would you put, are you posting it on the Morris Brandon website?
Yes, that's a good question. So this will go on our virtual page. So you go on morrisbrandon.com, and then you will go to the parent university page, and it'll all be posted on there. We have plenty of town halls that are on there. You can see all sorts of town halls that we've done this year. So yes, it will be posted. And that is the parent university site.
Greetings. Greetings and welcome to Morris Brandon Elementary, home of the Brandon Bees. Morris Brandon is a national Blue Ribbon and Georgia School of Excellence. We receive these accolades because of the strong bonds and partnerships we have forged with our students, parents, and community. It is the mission of Morris Brandon Elementary School to develop students' academic, social, and emotional needs by engaging our entire school community to work collaboratively while fostering international mindedness and a love for learning. Our vision is to educate the whole child by teaching empathy, open-mindedness, compassion, and critical thinking, while giving every student what they need to be successful lifelong learners. Let's take a quick tour of the school and see the building where it all begins. This is the main entrance to our building, where our kindergarten students that walk to school or arrive in carpool will enter the building each day. Students that take the bus will make their way into the school through the gymnasium. Upon entering Morris Brandon Elementary, you will be greeted by these two lovely ladies, Miss Cole and Miss Milner. They are here to assist you with your enrollment needs and answer any questions you may have. This is the main hallway. To the left are the first grade classes, and the second grade classes are to the right. Guess which class is also to the right? Art class. Let's stop by two important places on our way to art class. The first stop is the nurse's office. Right across the hall from the nurse is our elementary counselor of the year, Miss Whitaker. Hello, Miss Whitaker. Would you like to say something to our rising kindergartners?
Welcome to kindergarten. We are so glad to have you here as part of our hive. You are going to love being a Brandon Bee.
We have finally made it to art class with Mr. Carr. Students will take art as part of their specials rotation where they will create beautiful masterpieces. Let's take a walk to the other end of the hallway where we will find two additional classes that are on our specials rotations. But before we get there, we will see another favorite place in the building. That's right. This is our media center and our marvelous media specialist, Miss Ingram. You will visit her at least once a week to check out books. Maybe, if you're really good, she will read you a few stories. It's time to move your body. That's right, we are heading to the gym for PE with Coach Patton. Students love working out in the gym, and they have so much fun. Coach is leading the students through the Ironman workout today. Are you ready?
Good. Fit. You get ready. Again, fit, right? What's that? I'm checking to see on your skills. Good. kids in coordination. You're gonna have to deal with the guards, those areas. You're gonna have to deal with one man. You're gonna have to deal with move your body. And you're going to help us learn the world. Excellent. Very good, Amanda.
Directly across from the gymnasium is your music class. Students get to perform and showcase their singing skills at least 2 times per year. Let's hear some of that beautiful singing. On the first day of school, your children will enter the main entrance, go down these stairs, and arrive in the kindergarten hallway. Our kindergarten classes are lively and full of academic rigor and fun. Our kind, knowledgeable, and energetic teachers make kindergarten an exciting place to be. The last 2 places on the tour are kindergarten favorites, the cafeteria and the playgrounds. At Morris Brandon, we believe in developing the whole child, and learning to play is an important aspect of that development. Every student will have a 30-minute lunch and 30 minutes of recess on a daily basis. Let's walk down to the cafeteria together and then take a trip to our field and 2 playgrounds. As you can see, our students not only love school, they love being Brandon Bees. Our focus on academics, social emotional learning, and developing the whole child are our secrets to success. Thank you for touring with us. We look forward to meeting you and your young scholars next year. Have a great day.
Well, that was awesome. What a great way to end it. I brought a tear to my eye. I miss all those activities. We'll get back to there soon, though. I know it. Brighter days are ahead, but we have had an incredible year. If there's anything that you all need, please let us know. You can reach out to any of us, and maybe some of my admin or teachers can just put your emails in there so parents could reach out to you if they have any questions. Remember to call the primary center with any enrollment questions, and that's 404-802-7280. This video and presentation will be posted on our website on the Parent University page. And don't forget, there was one more video link that I couldn't quite get to. It has to do with our IB reauthorization, and it does talk a lot about our instructional programs in there. So if you wanted to learn more about our school, outside of sort of the student piece, but more of the instructional piece, you can watch that as well. So thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and we look forward to seeing you next year.